Welcome again to my channel. If you read the title of um, my episode, it's entitled Making It Easier to Prosecute Democratic Lawmakers. We all know that Trump's been in office for 100 plus days or so forth. Pam Bondi is trying her best to find ways to go into the next step and next level into this authoritarian style of government, in which is to um, prosecute lawmakers enmass. Well, you got the judge in Wisconsin, the mayor in New York and New Jersey, Bob Menendez, Wells, the mayor here in New York City. The thing is, if you're going to prosecute, you got to have evidence to commit a crime. Otherwise, what happens is, I'm going to say, do you have evidence to go forward to um, to indict the defendant? Well, I found an article, and I was watching Kyle Kalinske about this, and I have to be honest with you. This is going to blow up, backfire, in a way in which I don't think this is ever going to happen. If you remember last election, not this one, but in 2020, the election pretty much made Biden president of the United States. There's no questions asked about that. But what Trump was trying to do was to delay the inevitable. When January 6th came about, all hell broke loose in 2021. I remember that day. It just took a lot of convincing that the president was clearly in violation of all sorts of laws. And to this day, people are like, why? The problem is so blatant. Trump is making it easier for all of us to see that there's two-tier systems of justice. The two tiers of justice is not for the Republicans versus Democrats. Absolutely not. That's not the case. It's between the ones who is rich, who's got the means, and then there's the poor who don't have the means. So there's going to be a lot of mass incarceration ever since the get-go to keep prisons filled. And usually they're targeting to minorities, to less than middle class, and now they're going to be targeting lawmakers now and elected officials now that are Democrats. It's all part of the game to get as much money into the coffers, so to speak, into the 1/10 of 1%. Not only that, most notably, how to make Trump even more rich. That's the game. Let's read this article. I just found this from Facebook. Here it is. This is from the Democratic one of Como County Post. For May 18th at 10:41 a.m. Don't know who by Perry Stein and Jeremy Roebuck. The Justice Department of Public Integrity said it is charged with ensuring cases against elected officials are not politically motivated. The Trump administration is considering changing that. That's sort of the title of the article. Here's the article. Federal prosecutors across the country may soon be able to indict members of Congress without approval from lawyers in the Justice Department's Public Integrity section, according to three people familiar with the proposal attorneys in the section learned about last week. Under the proposal, investigators and prosecutors would also not be required to consult with the section's attorneys during the case that was proposed into public officials, altering a long-standing provision in the Justice Department's manner that outlines how investigations of elected officials should be conducted. If it adopted the change to remove a lawyer of review intended to ensure the case against public officials are legally sound and not politically correct, prosecutors in the public integrity section guide and signed off on the criminal investigation into alleged corruption by New York Mayor Eric Adams and former Democratic Senator Bob Menendez. Justice Department spokesman confirmed that the proposal had said that no final decisions have been made, that the three people familiar with the proposal spoke on the condition of anonymity because they are fear of reprisals. Attorney General had reportedly accused the Biden administration of having weaponized the Justice Department as vowed to remove politics from the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Since being sworn, she has closely aligned the department with which traditionally keeps some distance from the White House. With the president rationing up immigration enforcement and refocusing the Civil Rights Division on cultural war fights that go beyond traditional conservative cases such as religious freedom. Federal law enforcement official arrested in New York, and it just goes on and on. And the reason you have to say, well, let's go back to the final paragraph. The reason you have the section is exactly what the administration says they want, which is to stop politicization. It requires respect and ability to understand the laws and have been applied in a similar. The only way to ensure the public officials on both sides of the aisle are treated similarly is to as much institutional knowledge experience as possible. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. I'm just going to tell you why. Part of me wants to eliminate the two-tier system. The two-tier system does not. It's so hypocritical. You see lawmakers after many lawmakers get off on certain stuff. It hampers trials. It hampers getting some good people into Congress, getting good people into good judges, good candidates. For whatever reason, it's sort of like a damper, a roadblock to getting lawmakers who are under investigation into trial more quickly. That's what it is. You get the person into trial, get them to trial as quickly as possible. The thing is, does the district attorneys or the attorney general's office have enough evidence to prosecute the person that's being indicted? I'm not going to make a lot of. The only way they can see them prosecuting the Democrats is if they manufacture new laws that specifically target the Democrats in order to capture conviction. That's a problem. That's a problem I have. When you take things to the grand jury, the prosecutor is more likely or not going to trying to come up with as much evidence as they possibly can, just a little or to lie, depending upon um, whether or not they can go forward with an indictment. If they don't have enough evidence, the grand jury will usually say, no, there's not enough evidence to prosecute. A lot of times, the grand jury, but sometimes what they may opt for is having a judge be a jury in a criminal investigation um, in a case, which I could see happening. You get a corrupt judge that's going to be siding with the Trump administration, it's going against a Democrat. And the only thing you can see going wrong is young attorneys, as they're trying to go for conviction, and if the evidence is not good or tainted, and they try to use it, the case is going to get thrown out. Now, if they put up anything that's susceptible to being considered perjury, also grounds for disbarment, and that's kind of like going to reflect badly upon that lawyer. Look how many disbarred lawyers there are from years past. Do you think if you're a young lawyer making maybe like $70,000-$80,000 a year, let's just say you just got hired on as an ADA or under federal, you're making like less than $100,000 a year. You have student loans you have got to pay off, and you get hired on to to um, to work for the people, basically. When you work for the people, you work for the city, you work for the police department, you work for the jails, basically. Your job is get that evidence collected by the authorities and try to piece together a case against the defendant. The defendant's only job is to refute the evidence if they can. That's their only job. The prosecutor's job is a hard job. It's to piece together a solid case that makes the truth look favorable for conviction. You're innocent until you're proven guilty in the eyes of justice. Okay, you hide evidence, you put tainted witnesses on the witness stand, you put fabricated evidence, you taint the jury. Those all are disbarable offenses, and you could lose your job. If you're a lawyer, chances are you're going to lose your license to practice, and you may never be able to practice law ever again. Many Trump lawyers have found out the hard way. Some of them possibly have reapplied for the bar, and many possibly, who knows, got their license back, but it said, no, I'm not going to go back doing that ever again. Because the Justice Department has a specific guilt in all states that have sort of adopted laws for lawyers to practicing law. And if you go against the guiding principles about following bar standards of ethics in a court of law, you're bound by that. You're bound by that when you practice. Just like a surgeon is bound by HIPAA. They're also bound by those set of ethics that if they violate that, they will lose their license. It's sort of like a gross miscarriage of justice, putting innocent people away for no reason, destroying people's lives, destroying people's families. That's what it's intended to do. I don't know what Trump is thinking with that two-tier system. He's trying to create this chasm in which he's here and the laws don't apply to him. They don't apply to him at all. Well, he's been in court many a times. So he knows the system pretty well. And he's trying to rig the court system to sway away from justice, but in order to help him be more immune from the Constitution. Simple as that. You go after his enemies, which he's doing. He's going after them because he doesn't like dissent. He doesn't like people that don't kiss his ass. He's going after people that think he's crude, insufferable, incorrigible. He belongs in prison. Of all the people that do belong in jail, he does. But there's many that are going to dissent and say, no, they'll do whatever they can. Then, and there's been a lot of what's that shielding that's been taking place to curry favor for Trump. If they have Trump's back, then hopefully they'll have hit their back. It doesn't work like that for Trump. And many people that have been burned by him, have been betrayed by him, saying, if you're going to be messing, trying to create favor with him, he's not going to have your back. And those prosecutors are at their peril right now. Even though I kind of agree with giving that layer away from having a buffer with the lawmakers, because I think it's only fair that they go through the grand jury process, just like we have to if we are kind of indicted. I believe in the justice system is fair. It's not perfect, but to say the least, there are flaws. So that's why people go in and about to be able to try to create some sort of fairness in the system in which the justice system stays afloat, in which not to mass incarcerate a lot of people for absolutely no reason. And if Trump's going to go in this direction, chances are, I don't think there's going to be many prosecutors who are going to go and take a bite, because if they learn anything, chances are their bar license is at stake.